can we just take a minute to admire my makeup? Can we just take a second to admire it? Because I worked hard on this look today. I put eyelashes on. And I hate putting eyelashes on because it's always wonky and it's always the left eye, my left eye, for whatever reason, refuses to actually go on. I had to apply adhesive to it twice. So, and it's a little cockeyed. The right eye always goes on smoothly. I don't know why. I'm left-handed. You would think left side, dominant side. That would be the side it works. Now, for whatever reason, it just never works. But can we not admire how dewy and lovely I am looking in this makeup? Okay, so switching gears. I was gonna try to edit. Y'all know I don't edit. I don't even know why I tried to lie to myself like that. But as you see, it is a Lolita kind of day. So I am doing a Lolita vlog today because I actually have had this topic on my mind for several months. I think since I want to say March or April. This whole discussion comes from Reddit. Because there was a young woman earlier this year who had asked, she said she had just gotten into Lolita and she was concerned about sizing. She was concerned about how she would look or be perceived. And I gave her advice on confidence building and like things that she could do that to like, to get into the fashion. But one of the things she also asked about was the environmental aspect of being a Lolita, because most of this stuff does not come from like my country of origin. I'm currently, as y'all have heard a zillion times, live in Germany, but my country of origin is the United States. So there are people who make Lolita in the United States, but the majority of Lolita comes from either Japan or China. And I will touch on that stuff in a little bit. But she wanted to know, like, what are the environmental impacts? How could she avoid the environmental impacts of being a Lolita? What and like basically, is it ethical? And it led me down this multi-month process, and it was mostly thinking. I didn't do any real research on it because I'm lazy, and sometimes I'll like have an idea in my head and I'll be like, oh, that'd be a great idea for a topic, and then I'll be like, I'm not gonna research that. Fuck that. I'm not going to research that. So, yeah. So I finally got off my big fluffy duff and got it together, and I did some research for this because today's topic, and if I'm using my phone, I'm organized. Ooh. So, can one be ethical in a consumer-driven hobby like Lolita? Let's face it. We have all seen those wardrobe. Oh, I've been collecting Lolita for like 90 years, and I have this sprawling closet full of angelic pretty and baby the stars shine bright. I have every cord and outfit humanly possibly imaginable. And one of the things I always tell people, especially new people when they get in this fashion, kind of don't look at those wardrobe pictures as like you're gonna do that in a couple months. No one does that. As I always say, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was anybody's Lolita collection. I've been in the fashion for 20 years. Good God. And like, I have a good amount of things, but as a whole, like, my wardrobe collection took a very long time to amass, and there are deficiencies in my wardrobe, like primary deficiency. I don't have a short sleeve blouse, which is kind of like, whoa, what the hell am I going to do? It's like 800,000 degrees outside, and I don't have a short sleeve blouse. But apart from that, it was just like, what are some of, before I get into this is a very consumer driven hobby. Let me just point that out. And there's been a lot of talk when I'm not talking about video games or Lolita or some frivolous nonsense that I'm thinking about or doing. I spend a lot of time looking at a lot of political content. Full disclosure, I have been a kind of political person since I was a kid. Even though I didn't understand it as a kid, it's just gotten more and more like in depth as I've gotten older. And one of the things that I've truly started to look into is the effects of capitalism on like the environment, on people's psyche and well-being and sense of well-being. And yes, I understand that in the United States and multiple other countries that capitalism is the default norm and it's to be the thing that we're all like, oh my god, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But one of the things you have to understand is that's an antiquated economic system, and it's not serving everybody equally. And one of the things that I always say, I don't know if it should be capitalism or socialism, some kind of weird hybrid or some new thing that I'm not an economist. I couldn't come up with something like that even if I wanted to. But it might have to be some new thing to make the world a more egalitarian place, because capitalism, it was a really great idea when, you were going from like monarchy situations in basically a feudal type system where peasants like borrowed the land and they gave the majority of their cash to the landowners. I mean, they still kind of have that, but you know what I'm saying. But now it's getting to a point where it serves not as many people as it should, and it's definitely not an egalitarian system. And Lolita is definitely a highly consumer driven hobby. I mean, just the things that you can buy: one pieces, jumper skirts, shoes, socks, bloomers, petticoats, bonnets, like other accessories. Like, it's just so much stuff to buy, and it's so consumer driven, and it just leaves you, if you're really an ethical person, and I'm not saying that I'm not an ethical person, I just tend to compartmentalize probably a lot more than I should, and I should be better at being more ethical and giving consideration to, how my purchasing habits have an effect on the environment, and what the ethical standards of buying from a Taobao company are like the raw materials that are being gathered. Are they, being sourced ethically? And then in doing research for this, it made me think about stuff I wasn't even imagining could potentially be an issue. Like how dyes can adversely affect the environment. Like if you're using synthetic dyes to like make deep reds or dark purples or whatever, like that could have an impact on the environment, the waste generated from that. And I was just like, ooh, damn, I'm not with it. So, but now let me get a little on topic here. A glimpse into some of the ethical concerns, environmental impacts of making Lolita. Like I just said, like the raw materials that were used to make this ribbon on this bow, was that ethically sourced? I don't know. I think this is Elpress's Cloris wedding dress. I do believe, I want to say, and if I misspoke, I apologize. I want to say Elpress is a Hong Kong brand. I think it's either Hong Kong or Taiwan. It's not a Chinese brand. Don't get me started on China scooping up people. Don't get me started on it. We all know. But I don't think this is a Chinese brand. I think Elpress is either Hong Kong or Taiwan. I can't remember which. So, but was the materials for this ethically sourced? Because I have Royal Corgis by Pumpkin Cats. It's not ethically, the cotton used to make that is not ethically sourced. And it's like, because Pumpkin Cats was one of the people that were called out for using Uyghur slave labor to manufacture their stuff. Not cool. So, and then there's like, how are employees who manufactured this dress or any of my other jumper skirts or one pieces, how were they treated in the process? I would again hate to think like the pumpkin cat situation where people were being tortured and placed in awful like re-education. Yeah, okay, China, keep Keep feeding people lies. We are choke on your lies. We already know. But I would be appalled to know that something that I wore and I take pleasure in, somebody did not take joy or pleasure in creating it. I mean, I know it's work, and work is sometimes often not fun, but you're working at a sweatshop. I would imagine that's the epitome of not fun. So let's talk about it. So I did some research, as much research as I could, because surprise, surprise, it is difficult to pull out of companies what their ethical stance on things are. And I will talk about that in a little bit. And I know even in that Reddit post, the one person was like, years ago, and I think I saw this documentary and I tried to find it again, and I don't even remember what it was titled, but something about Baby to Star Shine Bright did an interview and showed the making of baby dresses and what it all went through, and they showed their employees sewing. And I know some things are manufactured by Baby to Star Shine Bright in Japan. I don't know if everything is. When you purchase, look at the label, because as I demonstrated when we were talking about the Uyghur situation last year, I had discovered there were a few items from Angelic Pretty and Baby that were being manufactured in China. And we all know China is not the best when it comes to ethical sourcing of raw materials, being mindful of the environment. I think they're a little better on the mindful of the environment bit now, but I don't exactly 100% trust it. And we all know that ethical treatment of people for employees and in work situations is just often, especially in the manufacturing of clothes, not the greatest thing in the world. So there was only one company, when I talk a little bit later on about companies, that actually had a sustainability statement on their website. One of everything that I saw, it was only one that I saw had a sustainability statement on their website. And that was, what is it called? Hold on. I have it written down. Conoco in Georgia, not the state of Georgia, the country of Georgia. They were the only ones who on their website actually gave statement about sustainability and their stance on the ethics of sourcing ethical materials. Now, part of the reason why you won't generally find a statement of, sustainability or ethics on most, at least Japanese or Western, or like Asian brands, is because while they enjoy the fact that people in the West wear and support their companies, their bread and butter is the Asian, Japan, China, and so on and so forth, all those markets. That is who they are targeting. Unless those people in that market start demanding accountability for, a sustainability, like anything, or unless they demand to know how their things are sourced, who's making them, and how are those people being treated. Unless they start demanding it, they're not gonna, I'm sure we could make enough waves and they would cave in to giving a statement on those things, but honestly, it has to come from the Asian market. They are the ones that are going to have to demand accountability and hold people accountable and hold them to account for these issues. Otherwise, they don't have any real reason to disclose it. And yeah, it's not what you want to hear. It's not what anybody wants to think about, but it is important because environmental impacts, it's 18,000. Last damn week in Germany, it was 100 fucking degrees outside. 100 degrees, probably 40, I think I want to say 43 43 or 44 Celsius. It was hot. It felt like I walked into the third circle of hell. That's how damn hot it was on last Thursday. So, and it's going to get hot again. You can't tell me. I know people want to try to deny it, and as the saying goes, whoever denied it supplied it, that the earth is not basically trying to boil us all alive because we done fucked up shit so bad that it's like, okay, these humans want to play like they run some shit, but guess who actually runs the shit? I keep telling y'all, this planet is going to do one of two things. It's either going to swallow us all whole or it's going to boil us alive. And I'd rather be swallowed whole, honestly, because I can't stand being hot. You can take off. You can, when it's cold, you can layer up. You can lay in the, like, you can do stuff to stay warm. When it's hot, there's nothing. There's not a damn thing you can do when it's hot except lay down and pray that you don't roast to a slow demise because it's hot. So yeah, you can't tell me that the environment is not impacted by humans or whatever people are trying to lie about, because it definitely is. So there's no reason in Germany it should be fucking 100 degrees. Just no. Just all of the damn no. So it affects us all. And yes, it might seem like, you know, how people are treated has no effect on us. I just don't like the idea of people being tortured to sew an outfit. Clothes are supposed to bring joy. And I understand it's not going to bring everybody joy, but I'm a huge believer in energy, and like, you can't put weird energy into something somebody else is going to wear. It's not a good situation. So it affects us all in some form or fashion. So yeah. So basically, I try very hard to look to see what somebody's ethical stance is. And what are their names again? It's Keniko. They were the only ones with an accountability, a sustainability statement. So with all that being said, I understand it's like, well, Achan, what do we do? Like, because it seems like it's just daunting. Nothing is ever daunting. And I don't want anybody to give up Lolita because they feel like it's just not an ethical thing to get into, or it's too consumer driven, or, you know, it doesn't serve a purpose. I am not going to front. It's frivolous. It's frivolous as hell. But again, I have said on this channel many, many times, the life is just too short and often too painful to not do something, even if it's a little stupid thing like putting on a fantastically frilly dress and walking around for a little bit to make you, if that's what makes you happy. I would say it's not hurting anybody, but if somebody did not ethically source something, it's not making somebody happy. This is where the compartmentalization on my half comes in, because to think negatively about something that I love and that I don't want to currently walk away from would just, it's a mental gymnastic thing. But there are things you can do, because it does seem like a lot. One of the things I was able to find in my travels for this was the general manager of Baby the Star Shine Bright in the United States. Her name is Josiah Chang. She is the general manager of Baby the Star Shine Bright in California. So if you really want to know what Baby's model for sustainability and ethics are, I would encourage you to reach out to Miss Josiah Chang and ask her, does Baby even have a sustainability model? Like, where does Baby stand? I tried to look, because there is a Baby to Star Shine Bright in San Francisco too. Couldn't find a general manager on that, and I was like, oh, surprise, surprise, hiding stuff. And we all know how I feel about Angelic Pretty. I do own some Angelic Pretty stuff, but I own AP secondhand, so they did not directly get cash from off of Achan. So I did not think until now to look to see who AP France, who their general manager is. But if you can find that information and share it below, I'm sure somebody could reach out to somebody in Japan and say, hey, people want to kind of know what your model for this is. Is there a model for it? So, but in the interim of that, if you want to, how can you reduce environmental impacts? You can purchase from regional brands. Like if you're in the US and you don't want to have an outfit shipped from Japan or China, and full disclosure, I just ordered something from Japan, and I've ordered this year 3 dresses, 4 dresses. No, I've ordered total. The 2 Innocent World dresses came from Japan. I ordered another dress from Lolita 42. That came from China. Wunderwelt, I got a dress from, and that came from Japan, and I'm ordering something else from Japan. So, but my carbon footprint is all jacked up anyway because I've been traveling back and forth to the United States for this health nonsense. So, I'm not going to tell you the do as I say, not as I do bit, but please do better. But me traveling for health stuff is neither here nor there, but I should be better about ordering stuff from afar. So, and not having it sent to the US. But I'll be going back to the US in a couple of weeks, so I figured it was just easier to send it to the US and then send it here, and then I miss it and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. But if you want to order regionally, there are brands, and I'm going to read out some brands by region that you can order from, that if you're feeling really kind of cagey about, you know, your carbon footprint or the impacts of a package on the environment. Then in North America, some brands are the Angelic Forest, Dolby, Gloomith, which Gloomith is a gothic brand and they're out of Canada. Spooky Sparkle Party, also out of Canada. Chocolate Bunny Store in Mexico, and in the U.S., or not in the U.S., in North America region, Lily of the Valley, which I know the lady who runs Lily of the Valley. She's really cool. South American brands, there's Cute Berry in Peru, Le Carousel in Brazil, and Nobilis Oblige in Argentina. Cotton Candy Feet for Shoes, and they're out of Brazil, and Me Likes Tea out of Brazil. They do, the last 2 do order, I do believe all of these send around the world, but I'm talking by region. So if you're more okay, even if you're more okay with ordering stuff, let's just say from Brazil to the US, then it's not probably as egregious as, say, getting a package from Japan sent to the US. So again, you have to do what's best for you and what you feel is the right thing to do. UK and European brands, Fluffy Tory out of Switzerland, Peacock Allurum Clothing and Accessory out of the UK, Porcelain Dolls out of Czechia. I had to figure out how to pronounce that, and I'm sure I still messed it up, but Porcelain Doll out of Czechia, Summer Tales Boutique out of the Netherlands, Violet Fane, which is in Spain, and it rhymes, and I'm here for it. Lady Sloth out of Poland, and Kaniko out of the country of Georgia. They're in Tbilisi, and I'm sure I messed that up, and I practiced that multiple times, and I think I still messed it up, but they're out of Georgia the country, not Georgia the state. I did not include Russian brands, and I deliberated on Russian brands for a while, but and the fucked up thing is, I do not blame anybody that's Russian. You all are just trying to scratch out a living underneath tyrannical rule. I get it. Trust me, I've been in that exact situation. I ain't gonna say no names. George Bush with the whole sending people to Iraq that did not need to go to that, but that's neither here nor there. I know how it feels to have to have a political, like the leader of your country straight fucking lie to your damn face and then try to sprinkle like try to put sprinkles on a shit cupcake and say it's not shit. I understand, and I don't blame the people. And at least in the U.S., we could speak out against that. They can't even speak out there. So I don't blame the people in Russia. I just know right now I currently cannot offer any Russian brands because you're not supposed to be sending any money to Russia for any reason. And it's just such an ugly situation, and I'm so sorry. But I'm sorry for everybody involved, because Ukraine doesn't deserve this. The people that are just trying to do what it do and live their life in Russia, I feel bad for them, and everybody's just trapped in some fuckery, and it's not right. But yeah, so you can order regionally. I didn't include Australia. There were a few Australian brands that I saw, and I was just like, I don't want to include all that because it's going to get a little bit long if I do. So, but I did give you North America, South America, and Europe / also the UK. So if you can order regionally and it makes you feel more comfortable, order regionally. That way you keep your carbon footprint low and you don't feel like you're damaging the environment by having packages sent here, there, and everywhere. It's a good option. And a lot of these places, I took a quick goosey gander. I'll be writing links out till the day I die after this, but some of the stuff is really, really pretty. So, and some of them, if you are a plus size Lolita, you can get actual clothes in your size. Oh my God, that's such a novel concept. So, I also didn't include Asia because there's more than enough easy to get stuff out of Asia. So, I'm sorry that I excluded you guys on like that side of the world, that whole side, the South Pacific and the more like upper part of the Pacific. I'm sorry. I just did not want to be rattling off names till the day I died. I'm going to be writing links that long too, but you know. Another option you can take if you really want to cut down your carbon footprint and want to be more ethical is you can sew your own Lolita. I used to do this. I'm sewing something now, but it's not Lolita. I used to sew a lot and I got out of practice, but you can always make your own, and then you can source from, fly a little net in here, boo. You can source your own raw materials. You can order. I know there are places you can probably purchase from that do cotton and have ethical sourcing of the cotton, and it's not done from torture labor. So, what the fuck is it with cotton and slavery? Like, why? Why is that still a thing? Why is that a thing? And I didn't even know until my husband and we were driving like a few years ago. We drove from Philadelphia back to Florida, and we went past all these cotton fields in South Carolina. They have thorns on them. Why is cotton always like go hand in hand with egregious slavery? I don't like it. I don't like it. So I don't know. So, but if you do, like I said, if you do choose to sew your own Lolita, give yourself time, take time, be patient with yourself. That's all I can say about that. Also, you might find more contentment and more joy from wearing something that you made, and it will be uniquely you. It would be something that not everybody has. So I think that's real cool. So if you want to sew and you have the ability to be able to do that, go for it. So you got that going. You can also have swap meets where, like, say there's a dress that you want to trade up for like a different dress, or somebody has a skirt that you want and you could trade for something else. That's actually a really good option to one, it keeps, I would say it keeps clothes out of landfills, but I don't think Lolitas are too apt to throw something straight out in the trash. We'd more sell something before we just was like, oh, this is garbage. So, but it would, like, in theory, it'll keep things out of landfills. But I don't think Lolitas just willy-nilly throw shit in the trash. So, that's a good idea. You can organize a group order. Say you want to order from Wunderwelt, and you could get like a clump of people that you know that are Lolitas together and make probably a bulk order. You can all split the costs evenly or pay for what you need to pay for, and just find a good meeting spot so everybody can disseminate their stuff equally and everybody gets what they want. You could organize something like that. And sometimes, I don't know so much about Wunderwelt, but I know sometimes if you order in mass quantity, you can get a discount on shipping. You can get a discount on the like overall purchase price. So organize something like that, and then that way, not like this person over here is getting a package from China, this person over here is getting a package from Japan, this person right here is getting, like, everybody will be getting the same thing at the same time, and that also will cut down on the carbon footprint. And if you're feeling guilty, it'll cut down on your feelings of guilt from ordering from afar. So another thing you could do is do a capsule wardrobe. Now, there was a Lolita challenge a couple of months ago where they did a capsule wardrobe thing. Basically, a capsule wardrobe is you get pieces that are either very meaningful to you, or you get things that you can reuse in different ways. Like, I would say if you're going to get a capsule wardrobe, do a lot of skirts and a lot of blouses, have a crap load of socks, and some different color shoes and different color accessories and stuff. And there you go. I think that would be a good, like, alternative. And plus, honestly, with a capsule wardrobe, it actually might be able to jet propel you if you wanted to be a lifestyle Lolita, where you want to wear Lolita every day. That actually could, like, if you get pieces that can mimic or like at least be passable and not too like Lolita-esque, but you get passable Lolita that you could walk around, or like more like casual Lolita and nobody be any of the wiser. So I think that would be a good way to like cut down on your carbon footprint and not be so consumer driven about, Lolita. I mean, you don't have to have this sprawling wardrobe of a zillion different dresses. I mean, you have to do what's comfortable for you and your budget, and what's best, what you think would be best for your own comfort level. So if you want to have a capsule wardrobe where it's like, different pieces that mean something to you, you can always do that. There's nothing wrong with having a smaller Lolita wardrobe and being proud of your small Lolita wardrobe and alternating different parts of it. So you got that going. Oh, buy secondhand. Everything with the exception of the Infanta dress that I bought, because I bought an Infanta dress. I did not do an unboxing for my Infanta dress, nor did I do an unboxing for the one dress that I got from Wunderwelt. Yeah, but I do have those things. So, yeah, but other than the Infanta dress, the Wunderwelt dress I got was secondhand. The two Innocent World pieces that I can't fit into, they were secondhand. The dress that I'm getting from Japan, which is Atelier Perot, that's secondhand. So I'm doing good on getting secondhand stuff. It's just I'm not doing great because they're coming all the way from Japan to my parents' house in Philadelphia. But if you want to, you can buy secondhand regionally. That works. Sometimes if you're in a good Lolita community, you can get secondhand stuff locally. So secondhand is sometimes really good, because then you're not waiting for, especially if it's local. If it's local and they're like, oh, just meet me at, like, I don't know, somebody's ice cream parlor and we can swap up some shit, do that, because then that definitely cuts down your carbon footprint and definitely cuts down on the travel of waiting. It's been a lot faster, but waiting forever to get something from another country. So you got that going. And there's not supporting the use of plastics, especially in accessories. Somebody brought this up, and I didn't touch on this quite in this like I wanted to. So one of the things I've been kind of testy about is the use of plastics in Lolita, especially accessories. We have all seen the rings, and I'm thinking specifically of an angelic pretty ring that's this bow, but it's plastic, it's acrylic. And I looked on their website today and I'm like, are they still hawking plastic stuff? And yet they are still hawking plastic stuff. And I have, for decades, for at least 10 years now, been very opposed for people paying top fucking dollar for fucking plastic. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. There is no reason why a plastic damn ring should be $25. I completely disagree with that. So, and I remember once I had given a discussion on Lolita at Anime USA, I want to say, and the girl admired my engagement ring, which I'm not wearing my rings right now, but she admired my engagement ring. She's like, what brand is that? I was like, oh no, this is a real thing. My husband, or like my fiance at the time, it's my engagement ring. And she's like, oh. And I want to do, this fly is all in my face. I wanted to do a talk about pairing Lolita with real jewelry, but I don't want to do that because I actually collect jewelry and I don't want people knowing what the fuck I have. But I do have this. This is lab created crystals and lab created rubies. Thank you, brain. Lab created rubies. They're real rubies, but they were created in a lab. I wore this for my Valinor. This was only, I think, $10 at like Boss Calls in Philadelphia. It wasn't that expensive. These are white topaz. This wasn't that expensive, and I bought this decades ago, and I think it was like $80. So yeah, you can pair real jewelry with Lolita. I got this bad boy though. It's not real, but I got it at a Lolita meetup like a couple years back, because it came in, because we had a special event in Florida, and this was one of the things that was in the little, like, not welcome bag, but you know what I'm saying, in that vein. It was that. So yeah, but you can pair real jewelry. And honestly, if you're going to put money into accessories like necklaces and bracelets, it can be hard to find jewelry that's, Lolita friendly and like that will give you the kawaii, aesthetic. But if you can find something that's metal, or at least metal based, I would rather you do that, because I don't like the plastic thing. I really don't like the plastic. I've never liked the plastic thing. I think it's a scam. I said it. It's a scam, and it needs to stop. If you're gonna charge somebody $20+ for accessories, make the shit some kind of metal, because plastic is a damn scam, and it's bad for the environment, and it needs to goddamn stop. I hate plastic in the use of Lolita. Stop charging people top fucking dollar for fucking plastic. I don't like it. So, but you can have fun and be ethical and a Lolita all at the same time. You might have to be a little more creative if you want to take the ethical route, but I am not going to stop you. I encourage you to do all the research that you can. I gave you the name of the general manager for Baby the Star Shine Bright, and if you can find the general manager for everybody else, please post it, because I'm sure somebody can reach out and be like, hey, what is your stance on accountability? What is your stance on sustainability? So, and if those things are important to you, ask for it. So that is all I have, and this was real long. It's almost 40 minutes, and I don't know, but I hope this helps. And please, I don't ever want anybody to feel like they can't be a Lolita because it's not ethical. I mean, not to get too dark, but everything we do has an adverse impact on someone else. And some things are avoidable, and if you can avoid hurting somebody, even accidentally, you should. But sometimes it's really hard to make those those judgments. So I don't know, but I don't want people to not get into this if they want to get into it, thinking that everything is horrible, and it's not. Not everything is horrible all the time. There are good things, and if there aren't, you can make things good. So I always try to leave you something a little uplifting. So that is all I have, and I'm sorry this was so long, but there was a lot of information I needed to get out. But I hope this helps, and until next time.